and welcome to race number 27 of 29 here in the 1991 Throwbacks. We are coming to Rockingham for the AC Delco 500, where Rusty Wallace is pretty much trying to secure up his 1991 Throwbacks Championship, which he has all but got in the bag at this point. Finishing 7th or better will net Rusty Wallace the security of finishing no worse than 2nd in the championship, as Mark Martin would be the only person eligible to win the title with a finish like that from Wallace. And Mark Martin needs to finish better than 9th in order to guarantee that he will still have a shot in the championship going into Phoenix. We'll see how that all ends up playing out, plus more, here at Rockingham. A very notoriously difficult track. We'll see how qualifying ends up going. And Davey Allison puts down another blistering lap. He's going to sit on the pole with a speed of 157.695 miles an hour. Oh, Davey Allison on the pole. Crazy to think. We've got Davey Allison on the pole, Rusty Wallace in 2nd, Bill Elliott 3rd, Ken Schrader 4th, Alan Kowicki 5th, Sterling Marlin 6th, Mark Martin 7th. Mark Martin 8th, Ricky Rudd 7th, Terry Labonte in 9th, and Kyle Petty will be rounding out the top 10 for this race. We can see Dale Earnhardt, Tim Richmond, Jeff Bodine, Phil Parsons, all drivers with different levels of consistency this season, just outside of the top 10. And Rusty Wallace will roll off in 2nd. Here's the command for today's race.
Drivers, start your engines.
And there we go. The cars have fired off. The two big players in this championship will roll off 2nd and 8th today. And Davey Allison trying to get career win number 2 today, which he has been chasing ever since his first career win all the way back in 1987. And the green flag is out here for something that we know is very, very tricky. We get through corner number 1 just fine here. 3 wide for the 3rd position already. Take advantage here. He's trying to get up into 4th. Bill Elliott trying to make a move here on Davey Allison. Can't get it done. He slips up the track. Alan Kowicki tries to go down low. Ken Schrader in this pack. Maybe even back to the 30s. Not a good start for the championship points leader right now. Meanwhile, Marcus, you could definitely tell that there's a... Oh, Phil Parsons way up against the wall here. That is all better. Oh, whoa! We have Richard Petty get onto the apron, and he just took out, straight up took out the 52 and a couple of other cars. See what happened here to Richard Petty. Why did he go all the way to the apron? And see here, he's at the bottom of 3 wide. I don't know what's going on there, but he just took out 3 different cars. Not going to be very much of a surprise that he's going to be doing his farewell tour next season. Will be the last for Richard Petty. After seeing stuff like that, you start to think, he's probably done. Well, we take a look at after pit stops ended up happening here underneath the first yellow. And, we're going to try to figure out what's going on here with Davey Allison, where he's fitting in. Maybe he's not fitting in at all. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. We've got a couple people getting into each other back there. Tim Richmond coming up through the field here. Looks like he's going to align himself right behind Waltrip. Let's go ahead and give you through the field right now. So we've got Bill Elliott in the lead. Shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. He's very good at this track. Terry Labonte in the second position. Ricky Rudd third. Sterling Marlin fourth. Kyle Petty in fifth. He's having a great run. Rockingham also a great track for Kyle. Sixth position, Jeff Bodine. Seventh place, Darrell Waltrip. He's been on one hell of a hot streak recently. Tim Richmond looks like he's going to line up eighth. Morgan Shepherd ninth. Ernie Irvin will round out the top 10. Mark Martin will line up in the 11th position. And really importantly, we see that Rusty Wallace and Davey Allison, more bad luck for that 28 crew. Good Lord. But more importantly, Rusty Wallace is going to be lining up way back here. Of course, we've got a long, long race ahead of us here. Rockingham being as long of an event as it is, typically these races are well over an hour. And we can see that Rusty Wallace will line up 23rd in line. Some other drivers you can see here. We've got Hutch Strickland. Looks like you saw him getting turned around earlier while trying to get lined back up. We can see the damage is done there. Eddie Birchwold, despite getting into the wall pretty good, he looks relatively unscathed. Phil Parsons, can't really say the same thing for him. Remember, he had that second place run at Martinsville not too long ago. Unfortunately, not looking good for him anymore. Meanwhile, we go back up to the front. Nobody's a lap down. Pace car comes back into pit road as the cars come down. And the green flag is waved once again. And now Chad Little comes down to the inside as he is. And meanwhile, we have Dale Earnhardt and Alan Kowicki out of the race along with Mickey Gibbs and Michael Waltrip. We're going to have to take a look and see what happened for them. But meanwhile, we've got a battle for the lead here. Though it doesn't look like Terry Labonte had the horsepower to pull it off. Smoke coming out of the 9 cars. He's really trying to drive the wheels off of that car. And we can see Terry Labonte maybe not having the car that he thinks he has. He's going to try to maintain the second position here, but he's getting up. These people are really driving hard into turn 3. We take a look at the fastest lap chart so far. When we come across the line, you got to figure everybody's going to be putting up their fastest lap of the race. And so far, you take a look, number 9, number 1. Well, number 9, number 2, number 94, number 3. So they are the second and third fastest cars on the track as we speak right now. And you got to imagine that's only going to continue to go up. Well, we're going to see what happens here coming off of turn 4. This should be an even faster lap for everybody in the field. And look who just put up the fastest lap of the field, 94, Terry Labonte. We've been saying since Talladega that these Oldsmobiles have been making significant inroads in the speed that they've got, and good Lord, they might actually have a car that can go out there and win today. Terry Labonte hasn't won in quite a while, but this 94 car is looking very, very promising right now. Oh, Ricky Rudd, we can see he's lined up in the 3rd position here. We have Tim Richmond in 4th. He's looking for a respectable run. Morgan Shepherd, here he is in the 5th place. We have Darrell Waltrip right now in 6th. Jeff Bodine trying to take 7th away from Kyle Petty. Looks like he's going to be able to do that. Sterling Marlin really loose getting into turn 3. Can't quite make the pass on Kyle Petty. He's going to try to do it, though. See if he can keep the momentum here going into turn number 1. No, Kyle Petty shuts the door. So it's going to be Kyle Petty in 8th, Sterling Marlin 9th, and Brett Bodine, rather, having a really respectable run in the 10th position. Another one of those Oldsmobiles. Meanwhile, Mark Martin, remember to be guaranteed into the championship, at least for Phoenix. He's got to finish at least 9th, but that assumes a full 185-point performance out of Rusty Wallace, which as of right now, though he restarted 23rd, he's made his way all the way up to 13th. So don't count this number 2 out. Don't count him out by a long shot. Rusty Wallace, very, very good. He got his first career win here at Rockingham. You know he's going to be able to do it really well. Excuse me, it was his second career win at Rockingham. The first career win was actually the 1988 Daytona 500. I am sorry about that. Meanwhile, Bill Elliott continues to lead here. It's about a half-second back to Terry Labonte, another half-second back to Ricky Rudd, roughly. We got fourth place, another half-second back, Tim Richmond. And then it's pretty much everyone else. Morgan Shepherd is right here. Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Bodine, Sterling Marlin, Brett Bodine. Doesn't look like anybody's really putting up a significant fight right now. Though Brett does look like he's getting, really loose there out of the 75. These cars are definitely sliding around today. One thing to be noted right now, this 2 car is coming through the field. Rusty Wallace is a man on a mission today. Yeah, you know he's going to want to come up there. He wants to secure this championship at this race. He could definitely do it today. He could secure it 2 races early. He'd be the first person to finish up a championship early in the throwbacks since Tim Richmond did it back in 1987. It would be monstrous for Rusty Wallace to do. And, you know, he just came out with a monstrous season this year. Ever since he broke out back in 1988, came out with that massive 7-win season. He's been racking up win after win after win, point after point after point, but they've just had inconsistencies underneath Raymond Beadle. Legendary owner Roger Penske, he jumps over here to NASCAR. He's like, you know what? I've got this team. They change over to the number 2. These guys have just found the magic cure for just about everything this season. It's honestly been extremely impressive what this number 2 team's been able to do. Meanwhile, it looks like Terry Labonte is starting to lose momentum here through the field. He might have some short-run speed, but it doesn't look like he's really got the long-term viability to be running up with everybody else. He might have the fastest short-term car on the track, but you could definitely see he's starting to fall off a little bit. He's back to 3rd and starting to fall back into the clutches of Tim Richmond here in the 4th position. You know, Terry Labonte, he's definitely been struggling a little bit ever since he came out of that number 11 ride, which he did a respectable job in. Of course, he also had that 1-year stint with Hendrick in the number 5 car. And he did, again, pretty okay in that. And now here he's reunited with Billy Hagan. Remember, he finished 3rd in the championship back with these guys back in 1984. Finishing 2nd behind Harry Gant and Bill Elliott, obviously. But these guys did extremely well back in 1984. Had a championship-eligible team. They just weren't able to pull it back together in 1985 and 1986. And then by 87, he was off to Junior Johnson as Darrell Waltrip was off to Hendrick Motorsports in 17 car. And since then, since he's gotten out of the 11 ride, Terry Labonte went to Hendrick for a year, and then he's gone to this 94 team trying to resurrect the magic that he had with Billy Hagan. And here, Ricky Rudd did not get a good run off of turn number 4. Everyone's really starting to fade now compared to Bill Elliott. And it's been a long time since Bill Elliott's gone out and straight up dominated a race. Like, we're talking 1989 probably that we've seen Bill Elliott come out and straight up dominate. And we all know the story between Bill Elliott and Tim Richmond in 1989 having the best points battle in NASCAR history. Came down to the very final race, the very final lap of the very final race to determine the championship. All that it would have required was Tim Richmond to just stay out and take those 5 bonus points. He didn't do it. And Bill Elliott just barely hung on. He won it by 2 points. It was an utterly insane championship battle that had an even more utterly insane finish to it. Of course, that was Bill Elliott's 2nd championship, his first of which came in 1984, which he... Just no sugarcoating it. He dominated 1984, even though he really just fell off of a cliff in the final third of the season, and it actually came down that Harry Gant was still eligible in the final race. I mean, Elliott would have had to finish like 38th, but still, he had like over a 500-point lead at one point, and he just collapsed at the final in the final couple of races. It just didn't matter. That's just how far ahead Elliott was. I mean, he even won 4 races in a row that season. It was just that dominant. Now that things have calmed down, let's go ahead and take a look at what happened to Dale Earnhardt earlier on in the race. I'm not quite sure what specifically occurred. I don't know if it happened underneath the yellow flag or if something else ended up happening here. Well, let's go ahead and take a look and see what happened to the 3 car, because he ended up retiring. We can see him coming to pit road here. Everything's seeming okay. And then, oh! Mickey Gibbs trying to get to pit road. He hits the pit barrier, collects Alan Kowicki and Dale Earnhardt with him. Good Lord. That'll do it. So that is how we ended up getting the 3, the 7, and the 24 out of the race. That doesn't necessarily explain Michael Waltrip's dilemma, though. Mark Martin, as you can see here, is running like garbage right now in 13th. Definitely not having a championship day today, but he honestly hasn't had a lot of those recently. Rusty Wallace looking more and more like he is just going to run away with this thing. Nobody is in his galaxy. I mean, Mark Martin's finished a good solid 7th to 10th pretty much every single race this season. He hasn't done much better than 7th to 10th, but hey, consistency is what matters, and consistency wins championships. And, you know, if it hasn't been for Rusty Wallace putting up the insane numbers that he has, including winning 3 races in a row, you know, if it wasn't for that, we'd be talking about a much closer championship points battle between Wallace and Martin here, but it just hasn't happened. Meanwhile, Wallace 3 wide, trying to take another position here. He backs out of it. Harry Gant a lap down, but he's on much fresher tires, so that's to be expected. And here we can see Terry Labonte losing some more positions here. Looks like he's about to lose 4th and 5th in a row there, and he might be losing more. Brett Bodine moves into the 5th position. Now he's the fastest Oldsmobile in the field. Meanwhile, we might have a battle for 2nd. Here we go. Tim Richmond down to the inside. And we can recreate the 1989 magic, kinda, today, as Tim Richmond moves into the 2nd position. Of course, Bill Elliott is just way, way, way checked out. He's almost 4 seconds ahead of these guys. And now, Brett Bodine, he's looking for more. That 75 car is on some rails here in this part of the race. Brett Bodine looking for more, and he's going to take it. Bodine moves to the 3rd position. 75 car doing really, really well today. Meanwhile, Tim Richmond, he comes down to pit road along with a couple of other people. Well, that's going to pretty much force Bill Elliott's hand to come down to pit road here. We're going to see if he ends up making the hard turn left here off of turn 4 or not. I would imagine he would. The tires are just get worn out way too quickly here. And indeed, the 9 car makes the hard left turn in. The 75 comes in. Meanwhile, the 17 will stay out, so Darrell Waltrip will opt to collect 5 bonus points here and try to improve his points position. Of course, Waltrip not exactly in the greatest points position right now. He's not even in the top 10. They're definitely hoping for a little bit more out of this 17 team. They're looking forward to regrouping in 1992, no doubt about it. And here comes Waltrip. He'll go to pit road. And then we can see Allison here going to pit road. And here we can see Ricky Rudd out. I think he was the first of everybody to pit. So we'll see where this puts the 26 car. Well, you can see it'll put him way out in front of the 94. Not out in front of the 75, though. I'll leave us with the question. Well, there's the 25. Let's see, the 25 getting around Rob Moroso there. And there's Bill Elliott. So Bill Elliott will not be the leader because Chad Little hasn't pitted yet. But he's not going to get 5 bonus points. He was a lap down. So that's going to put Bill Elliott as the leader. But the lead has basically evaporated during that round of pit stops. And now he's going to have to fight for his life over arch nemesis Tim Richmond. And meanwhile, we've got Brett Bodine running in third. I don't even know how that's happening. Ricky Rudd in fourth. We've got Rusty Wallace getting all the way up to fifth after restarting 23rd and falling back to the 30s to start this race. He's going to lose fifth place to Jeff Bodine here. But still, oh man, Rusty Wallace is on a mission to win this race today. You can put Sterling Marlin in 7th, Terry Labonte in 8th. We're going to have Darrell Waltrip in 9th, and Ken Schrader will actually round out the top 10. So way to go, Schrader there. And here we can see Terry Labonte going 3 wide around a couple of lapped cars. And now we've got the question of, can Tim point? Meanwhile, you want to know who's actually been running faster than both of them? Brett Bodine in the 75 car. He's been driving the wheels off of his Oldsmobile, and he's cut the gap to just about 2 seconds. He was almost 3 seconds down. You could definitely see the effect that lap traffic ends up happening here. It definitely does slow down lap times by quite a bit. So dodging lap traffic is definitely going to be a big issue. And I'll tell you what, that 9 car does not have the speed that it is here today. Comes with the 9 team potentially here. And Tim Richmond is just straight up running down Bill Elliott. We'll find out if it was just sandbagging or not. Elliott's going to have to put the pedal to the metal now if he wants to retain this lead. Maybe he just wanted good, friendly competition here from Tim Richmond. Oh, you know these two are just going to duke it out for absolutely everything that they possibly can here. There's no questioning that. And here we go, Richmond to the bottom. You knew he was going to make the move eventually. He's going to make it straight away, and now these guys are going to run side by side. And who's this going to benefit? That's 75 car of Brett Bodine. He's going to pull within a second of both of these guys now. And your new leader is Tim Richmond. And Elliott did not get off of turn 4 well. And here comes Brett. And Brett Bodine is having a hell of a run right now on that 75 car. Here we can see a couple of lap down cars trying to duke it out between Jimmy Spencer and Rob Moroso. They are off the pace. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace, maybe he's not going as fast as he originally was. Here comes Sterling Marlin down to the inside, trying to take that 6th position away. Can't get the job done. Man, trying to pass in turns 1 and 2 is just very, very difficult. And you're just going to have to figure out a way to get around these guys. You're going to have to get a very strong run off of 1 and 2 and get them in 3 and 4. 3 and 4 has historically been the passing corner here at Rockingham. Here we can see Mark Martin just barely... No, he's a lap down in 23rd. Excuse me, Mark Martin is a lap down in 23rd. This can eliminate him. Meanwhile, we had smoke up the track there. I don't know what ended up happening. I'll tell you what the consequences of it is going to be. The yellow flag's going to come out. And we're going to figure out what happened here in corner number 3. Second incident here at Rockingham. And it looks like it involves Rick Mast hitting the wall. So let's figure out what happened here. Everything looking okay for the number 8 Buick so far. Going through turns 1 and 2. No big deal. No one's really around them. Oh, he had an issue getting into turn 3, and then Phil Parsons ends up getting collected into another guy's mess again. Phil Parsons just not having a good day today. He's getting all sorts of banged up out there. And that'll bring the yellow flag out. So lead lap cars are on pit road. We'll see how they end up coming out. It's going to be... Oh, Brett Bodine almost came out in front of Bill Elliott there. That would have been massive. Yeah, that would have been nuts. So, I think the top 10 is going to remain relatively unchanged from this. Now you can see all the lapped cars coming down to pit road. And then you can see a couple of lapped cars trying to get a lap back by not pitting. We'll see how that strategy ends up playing out for them. None of them are going to make their way back onto the lead lap, I don't think. Oh, the 71 and 47 will unlap themselves. Jimmy Spencer will undo one of his 3 laps down. Now they're just going on to the backstretch pit. All right. Fair enough there. So here we go. Pretty much. We've got Tim Richmond in the lead, Bill Elliott second, Brett Bodine third, Jeff Bodine, his brother, right behind him in fourth, Sterling Marlin in fifth, so we got both of the Junior Johnson cars in the top 5. Darrell Waltrip to sixth, Terry Labonte still duking it out there in the 7th position. In 8th, we've got Rusty Wallace. In 9th, Ken Schrader. And in 10th, we have Kyle Petty. Again, Mark Martin's going to be flagged as 1 lap down. And he's currently scored in the 24th position. This is a disaster. I mean, this is going to be a disaster for Mark Martin. Remember, a seventh place finish. I think, actually, Rusty Wallace... No, because 4th place is Ken Schrader. So, theoretically, Ken Schrader could still go out there, get the lead the most laps, and Rusty Wallace would still have to finish 7th to cut him out because Ken Schrader... No, actually, Ken Schrader was ridiculously far back from Alan Quickie, so never mind. Never mind on that. So, basically, Rusty Wallace has got the points locked up here. Just run the numbers from this because the best that Mark Martin's going to be able to get out of this is going to be the 22nd position. Unless he can get back on the lead lap by some miracle. Rusty Wallace, as it is in 8th. The green flag is back out. We are underway. As it runs, and we can see Tim Richmond and Bill Elliott, they are going to drive way out in front of everybody. And Brett Bodine's going to be Brett Bodine, rather, is going to be hung out to dry. Jeff Bodine is going to move to the 3rd position. Mark Martin's just trying to get out of everyone's way there on the outside along with Rick Mast. And meanwhile, Terry Labonte's trying to flex his short run speed, trying to find his way around the 17 car. Be crazy. So if we end up getting a situation where Rusty Wallace finishes 8th, Mark Martin finishes 22nd, Mark Martin would just barely be eligible. 293 points would separate him which means we would have to move the heavens and the earth. So let's say Mark Martin finishes as high as he possibly can. Whoa, the 19 car falling way through the field here as I'm trying to find the 6 car. There we go. So let's say Mark Martin's able to finish in the 22nd position, which right now he really needs to get down to the inside lane to be doing that. There he goes. And we've actually got a caution back out again. So third caution on the field now. Mark Martin finishes 22nd, highest that he can possibly get right now without getting a lap back. Rusty Wallace just needs to finish 7th, and he'll have the championship locked up. 2 races early, and it's Rick Mast again. So you take a look here on the outside. Yeah, there's 3 cars getting together. Oh, and Eddie Bierschwale also involved. Greg Sachs, Stanley Smith, Richard Petty. Yeah, that's going to take a couple of cars out of the race. And everyone's back on pit road. Meanwhile, a bunch of differing tire strategies here. And I believe Rusty Wallace is going to come out as the leader. No. I'm pretty sure Rusty Wallace is going to come out leading this race. Yep, Brett's going to yield the second. Rusty Wallace just played some pit strategy, and he's going to try to win. Oh, man. Now all he's got to do is finish 6th. 6th or better, and Rusty Wallace hangs up the points this race. He would clinch it 2 races early for only the second time in Throwbacks history, because Darrell Waltrip did that in '85. Be crazy. So, here, no, we're waiting for this to run through. Wait for us to come back around to the line so we can actually get what the top 10 is going to be. Okay, so here's how this is going to run out. Dick Trickle is your leader right now. He's not pitting, as far as I know. And I don't think that's going to change. Okay, Dick Trickle not pitting. He is your leader. Rusty Wallace in second. I don't think he took any tires. Burt Bodine, pretty sure he took 2 tires. Everyone behind him took 4. So that'll make you Tim Richmond 4th, Bill Elliott 5th, Jeff Bodine 6th, Darrell Waltrip 7th, Terry Labonte 8th, Sterling Marlin 9th, and somebody I'm pretty sure also took 2 tires, Ted Musgrave. He's in 10th. He pitted on the back stretch. Ooh, wow. As if this insane race is not about to get even more insane. We're not even halfway through this Rockingham race. And this is already shaping up to be one of the craziest Rockingham events we have ever seen. Is that Ricky Rudd retiring? Ricky Rudd has retired due to an engine failure. The green flag is out. We're underway. How's this going to work out? I'm going to guess not well for the 66. 4 wide! Oh boy. And the 66 is already off the wall. Rusty Wallace with no room, but also there's nobody down there. Rusty Wallace is your leader. Yeah, and all those guys are lapped cars. Except, nope, Dick Trickle's coming down a pit road here. So that's going to put 2 cars your leader. Wow. The 2 car is your leader. That's going to put Bill Elliott in second. So you got to figure Dick Trickle only did that to get the 5 bonus points. Yeah. Bill Elliott's is second. Jeff Bodine is now running third, but he slips up the track. Here comes Sterling Marlin for the 3rd position. Tim Richmond had a pit. He's now a lap down. He's not even a factor in this race. You'd think that would put him 2 laps down. 22nd. 1 lap down. Oh my good lord. Rusty Wallace has inexplicably backed himself into leading this race. Remember, he's running on old rubber. Meanwhile, everybody's just frantically scrambling for the 2nd position. Jeff Bodine is now there. Sterling Marlin 3rd. Bill Elliott 4th. And this battle's still not done. And there we go. Sterling Marlin, he pulls to the outside. He's going to get out of the way. So Sterling Marlin, he's going to lose some positions here. And now Bill Elliott's going to try to take a position back. He'll move into 2nd. They got to chase down that 2 car. You got to figure taking no tires wasn't a massive gamble because they were only out there for a couple of laps. But you got to figure everybody else is going to be running at least a mile an hour faster. I mean, come on. How long can that 2 car stay out there? I mean, it's going to be entirely dependent on how obstructive, really, the lap traffic's going to end up being. That's what this is all about. How obstructive will the lap traffic be? Tim Richmond trying to get back on the lead lap. Oh, you know he wants that. Tim Richmond. Fresh rubber. Remember, he pitted under green. He's trying to turn his car underneath the 2, but he just didn't have the center of the rotation. He's going to try to get him into 1 again, but we've seen that just does not work. Rusty Wallace slips up the track. Can he get him going into 3? Richmond back on the lead lap. Rusty Wallace, I told you, even though he had that horrible start, he's hell-bent on winning this race. Horrible run off of turn 4. Here comes Elliott. Elliott, he wants to dominate this race, I'll tell you that. And with Tim Richmond now no longer being a factor, there's a very good shot that he will just straight up dominate this race. We'll see if he can. Elliott trying to get to the bumper of the 2 car, but right now, Rusty Wallace is looking pretty strong. Virtually identical lap times that time around. And Jeff Bodine is coming. This race is utterly insane. Here we go. Elliott to the inside. Elliott trying to get there. Jeff Bodine is coming. He's way faster than both of these guys. And you got to think that Rob Moroso, Darrell Waltrip, Terry Labonte, those guys are also even faster. Can they get there? Elliott knows as soon as he tries to make a move on this 2 car, here comes the 11. Elliott to the inside. Elliott to the lead. Here comes Jeff, though. Jeff Bodine, he's had the definition of an up and down season. He's got 3 wins this season, but he's not even in the top 10 in points. He might be looking at the business end of win number 4 if he can try to get up here. Question is, how fast is that 11 car? How quickly can he get around the 2? Let the 2 go for a little bit there through turns 3 and 4. I think he was trying to set him up here for turns 1 and 2. He'll figure it out. Not quite. Just ran out of real estate there, did Jeff. You can see here Sterling Marlin. He's going to go around Terry Labonte here. That'll be for the 4th position if he can go ahead and pull it off. He will. Kyle Petty. He's also having a very strong run. That'll move Kyle Petty into 6th. Ken Schrader, he's trying to get up into 7th. And Kyle Petty might be able to get himself into the top 5. And there we go. Jeff Bodine moves into 2nd. But Elliott's trying to pull away. We'll see what Bodine tries to pull here going into turn 1. Nothing. Irvin's just going to hold him up. Yeah, that's not going to make Jeff happy. No. I wouldn't want to be listening to his radio right now. I imagine Jeff's pretty fired up over this. He turns down to the inside of the Fort car, and you better believe he's going to be trying to run off with this position here going into turn 1. And there he goes. And now Rusty Wallace, he falls back to the 4th position. Remember, he's just got to finish 6th right now, and I'm pretty sure 22nd's going to be Mark Martin's cap, maybe 21st. But if Rusty Wallace can hold 6th, he's got this championship wrapped up. And meanwhile, the 2 Junior Johnson cars, they are running very, very well right now. We'll see if they're able to run down Bill Elliott or not. You know, there's going to be at least one more round of pit stops before this race is over as well. Yeah, and there's going to be a pit stop probably somewhere in the range of lap 90. We'll see when that happens. And Davey Allison going from pole sitter to a lap down here. Good Lord. Jeff Bodine, you can see here. Remember, leader of this race earlier, Dick Trickle, he's now fallen 1 lap down to the 25th position. I'm sorry, 2 laps down to the 25th position. Things have definitely calmed down a little bit here from Rockingham. 42 laps to go right now, 41 when we come to the line. Your leader's going to be Bill Elliott. He's been a leader for a majority of today, but he does not have the fastest car right now. The fastest cars are these Junior Johnson machines, the 11 and the 22. They're running 2nd and 3rd, and it would not surprise me if they start running 1st and 2nd by the end of this race. They are running very rapid pieces of machinery, to say the least. And now Sterling Marlin wants 2nd. Marlin trying to get there. Sterling Marlin trying to get his 2nd career win. Actually, I think it would be his 3rd career win. I would have to check up on that. I know he's got at least one back in 1986 at Talladega. It's actually the first ever race that we ran the restrictor plates on. Now Sterling Marlin trying to work with Jeff Bodine. Jeff Bodine, of course, he's just trying to put up the best effort he can in this 11 car. Now that he knows he's getting kicked out. I mean, 2 wins in 3 races would be pretty impressive for a driver that is getting kicked out of his ride. Of course, we all know Jeff Bodine not coming to the number 11. He will, I'm sorry, Bill Elliott will be going to the 11. And there we go, Sterling Marlin to second. Oh, he's got the car, too. He's got to make up 2 seconds. Lots of wide open track. Should be noted, Kyle Petty is running in 4th. Terry Labonte is running in 5th. These guys are still having incredible days. You want to know who's having a hell of a day right now? How about Neil Bonnet, his final run here at Rockingham? He's had an abysmal season to this point. Hasn't had a top 10 in 6 weeks. He comes to Rockingham. He's got that 21 car 9th. But someone who's even had a more abysmal season, Bobby Hillen Jr. driving the hell out of his number 76 Spears car. Should be noted that Bobby Hillen Jr. has not finished in the top 10 the entire season. In fact, his best finish so far has been 21st. He's had an average finish so far this season of 34th. Here he is running in 10th. And a non-super speedway track at that. Bobby Hillen Jr. having one hell of a day in that 76 car. Really fallen off from what he's had. Rusty Wallace, he is in 8th. I will come out with the full silly season lineup for 1992 next week at Phoenix. Stay tuned for that. I don't have the full roster set yet. Full roster will be set next week. I'll tell you the full details of who's going where. Junior Johnson cars are running them down. Oh man, Sterling Marlin. He wants his first non-super speedway win. Oh, Marlin can go get it too. Sterling Marlin, who's had an objectively better season than his counterpart in that 11 car, Jeff Bodine. He's got an average finish of 12.7. You know this Junior Johnson machine. He's going to want to continue this success going forward. We'll see what ends up happening here. Marlin, he's running down the 9 car like crazy. Almost a full mile/hour faster. Now they're coming to pit road. Final pit stops. Your leader, Jeff Bodine. 5 bonus points to the 11. Mark Martin just coming out of pit road there. His championship hopes are pretty much in the toilet. Yeah, it's gonna take moving the heavens and the earth just to make sure that he is still eligible for the championship coming Phoenix. And everyone else is knocked out. And you can see Bobby Hillen Jr., he's going to come to pit road. Pretty much everyone else has come to pit road as well. I don't think Rusty Wallace has. What? No, he had to be one of the first people to hit pit road. So we'll see where the 2 car comes out with respect to everyone else. It's going to be interesting to see. Wouldn't surprise me if he ends up actually having a massive lead over everyone. No. 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 I don't think he does. I'm trying to figure out if he does or not. Here's the 94. He's currently being scored ahead. And there's the 11 car. There's the 22. And there's Elliott. All right, so there we go. Your top 10 is... Oh, man. Wait until you hear this top 10, folks. So we've got Bill Elliott in the lead. All right. Sterling Marlin in second. Nothing strange there. We've got Davey Allison and Brett Bodine. They're both a lap down now. Jeff Bodine, running third. Okay. Terry Labonte's back up into fourth, having a hell of a day. And then we've got Rusty Wallace in fifth. All right. Now everything runs off the rails. Sixth place is Derek Cope in the 10 car. And then we have Ted Musgrave, rookie, running in seventh. Ken Schrader is in eighth. We have Dale Jarrett running an owner-driver Pontiac, that 32 machine, which has done horrible this season. A 29.5 average finish. He's running in ninth. Darrell Waltrip is here in 10th. Bobby Hillman, by the way, is still right here in 12th. So he's still having an utterly insane day. And as of right now, I mean, remember, and then you have to remember, the 2 car is on laps older tires than everyone else. So that means that more than likely, we're going to see Derek Cope or Ted Musgrave get a top 5 out of this race, which is in somewhere. 21st. You can see the long attrition list associated with this race. Not exactly what you would expect here from Rockingham, but it's definitely been a different Rockingham race for sure. So now that we've gotten all of the major storylines out of the way, the big question is now, it's going to be all between the 9 and the 22 for who is. And I just realized that the connection ended up disconnecting there. I'm not quite sure what happened there. But definitely a situation out of my control there. So now lap traffic is going to be the difference. Who's going to win this insane race? It would only be appropriate if something colossally weird happens and somehow Derek Cope wins. I think that might be the motto of that 10 team. If something colossally weird happens, we win this race. Well, it happened with, what's his name? Greg Sachs, 10 car. Won the 1985 Daytona 500. Sheer one-off. It was the only top 10 he had all season long, but he won the Daytona 500. Yeah, he straight out outran favorite Bill Elliott. Think about that for a second. Straight up outran favorite Bill Elliott, and that was back when Bill Elliott was just insane on the large tracks. Like, it's impossible to beat. You go to a big track, you gotta beat Elliott. And you're gonna have to beat Elliott doing over 220 miles an hour, which is Jesus. Crazy to think about now, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Well, now, something that's not exactly crazy to think about is that we've got this 9 car. He's in the lead. We've got this 22 car. He's in second place. Elliott's just faster. I don't think that Marlin will be able to run him down in the given time. He's going to have to manage lap traffic here. If Elliott can get trapped here between Morgan Shepherd and Tim Richmond, we can have an interesting race. I don't think Elliott is faster than Tim Richmond. No. Elliott is not faster than that 25 car. He's not going to be able to pass him. He's not even going to try to pass him. Elliott's going to fully just focus on winning this race, which, by the way, would be his first win of the season if he were to pull that off, which is another insane thing to think about. What has happened this year? Oh, my God. Just an utterly chaotic race to what has been an even more chaotic 1991 NASCAR season. What has been this season is just absolutely right. We are nearing the 1 hour mark for this race, and we've still got 11 laps to go. And tires are falling off. So Elliott was able. Here we go. Remember, Elliott's going to have to navigate this lap traffic with Tim Richmond. Again, I don't think the 9 can pass the 25. If the 9 can pass the 25, he's got this race won. Without a question. All right, 22 is going to have to pass both of them in one shot. Good Lord. So now we're going to have to consider Bill Elliott. Can he run down that 25 car? Can he pass him? This top 5, this top 10 is still utterly insane, by the way. No matter what happens. Elliott is closing in on that 25 car. I'm telling you, if he can pass Tim Richmond, he's got this. Now, here's the thing. I think that Marlin's actually faster than that 25 car. Barely, but he's faster. I don't think Marlin's faster. No, Marlin's going to be faster than 9. Because you can see the tires have definitely made a difference now. I don't think Elliott's car is as strong. And it's starting to show. The 22 is coming. I don't think he's coming fast enough, though. Yeah, it's going to have to be some last lap shenanigans if the 22 is going to get there. And like I said, if the 9 can get to the lead, this race is over. Mark Martins made his way to 20th. I think Mark Martins is going to need a couple more positions than that if he's going to want to take home a chance to still be in contention for the title at Phoenix. Here we go. 4 to go. Well, you can't get caught up behind the 98 if you're Sterling Marlin. You got to pass him now. Can't let him hold you up. And Marlin's not going to let him hold him up for very long. Oh, Elliott is looking really good for passing that 25 now. 3 to go. Martin might be going another lap down here. Oh, man. Marlin drove the hell out of his car through turns 1 and 2 there. He made up a lot of ground. Not enough to come into the frame in turns 3 and 4 yet. But Marlin is coming. Charging hard. 2 to go for the number 22. Can he get there? Lap traffic now going to play a massive role. Marlin didn't look as strong through turns 1 and 2 there. He's going to have to look strong through turns 3 and 4. He's going to get around the 55. Here we go. It's on. Marlin to the inside off of turn 4. White flag. Oh, he lost a little bit there going into turn 1. Side by side coming off of turn 2. They are still side by side. Elliott trying to clear him getting into 3. He cleared him. Is it enough? Marlin coming back down on the inside. Derek Cope touching it. They're going to be side by side coming to the line. Sterling Marlin got it. Marlin got it. 22 car. Wow. way to get a win here in 1991. Sterling Marlin steals it out from the nose of Bill Elliott. A crazy race, a crazy finish to an utterly insane race. Rusty Wallace is going to finish 5th. Mark Martin is going to finish in the 20th position. Good Lord, is that going to be enough for Martin? Running the numbers now. No, it is not. Martin is eliminated. The championship is over. It's been decided. Rusty Wallace is your 1991 Throwbacks champion. He'll take it 2 races early here at Rockingham. But what an utterly insane finish to this race. Sterling Marlin will run down Bill Elliott, and Rusty Wallace will end the 1991 campaign. He will take home the championship this season. We'll see you next week at Phoenix. It's pretty much all for wins at this point.